All right, hey everyone, it's Pastor Ben, and I just want to share with you guys another chapel, another verse that's come to my mind that really I think is applicable with things that have been happening now. What comes to my mind, what I've been thinking about a lot for these past few days is, do we really follow through with our actions of love versus do we say things of love? I mean, more than ever, like today, we know we live in a very big social media age. So if something happens on TV, if something happens on the news and we see something terrible, the first way that you want people to see that you support something or that you're behind something is like, what do you share in your story? Or what do you post on your IG? What do you tweet? What do you share on your Facebook? Those are the things that kind of show people, that's the platform that people use to speak on things that they stand up for. And those are good. And I think the things that you show or the things that you decide to speak out, the ways you decide to speak out are important. But do we intentionally and physically show how we love? People always say the line "talk is cheap." And that line "talk is cheap" is so interesting because you can say one thing, but how do your actions follow through? And so it makes me think of this one verse, and I want you guys to think of this. If you have time, go to this verse. Pull out your Bibles, 1 John, not John in the Gospels in the first 4 books, but John at the end of the Bible, 1 John chapter 3, verse 18. 1 John chapter 3, verse 18, it says, "Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." I'll read it one more time. "Little children, let us not love in word or talk, but in deed and in truth." I think it's easy for us to love in word and in talk. I mean, we've said, "I love you" to our families, maybe to significant others. We say, "I love you" to our siblings, parents, uncles, aunties, maybe really close friends. We can say it. You can say things of love. You can post statuses or stories that show how much you love something, but do your actions follow through? Not saying that words don't matter, but do our actions follow through? Let us love in deed and in truth. You know, I think about it. I have this one friend, person in high school that we were pretty close, and he hung out with the crew. But he wasn't that nice of a guy, but he called us his boys. Like, he'd always refer to us as his boys, his homies. He'd roll with us, he'd hang out with us, but he was very disrespectful in things that he would do, whether we were eating food, he would kind of just take food and kind of be aggressive, silly stuff like that. And he would constantly be kind of rude, very fast to roast people, very fast to insult people, to put other people down, yet he would use the word friend. And friend is a term of endearment. So if someone calls you their friend, you expect them to act that way. And so I always was uncomfortable to the way that he would refer to us as friends, but then the way he would act towards us was not friendly. And I remember one time, me and my friends, we used to kind of have the same route that we'd walk home together because our houses were kind of all down this in this neighborhood. So we would just go on this path that everyone would kind of park ways on their street. And all my friends were coming over, and this guy, one of my friends, again, we're really close now. And I think because of what I did, this changed the whole course of our friendship. But again, this guy would always call his friends, but he would act very rude. And that day he was acting special rude, special, disrespectful, very rude about everything, insulting people. And as we were walking, my boys were like, "Yo, let's go to your house." So I'm like, "Okay, cool." And as we're approaching, this guy's like, "Yo, I'm coming over too." And I didn't like that after how rude he'd been all day. And I just lost. I think that was my last straw. And I snapped at him. And I started screaming outside in public in front of all my friends. I was insulting him. I'm like, "Man, how could you call us your friend, but the way you treat us? How can you say that you're our friend and you care about us, but the way you talk to us and the way you disrespect us and the things that you say, the jokes that you make are too far? If you're going to be our friend, you have to change up." And I said that to him. And he got really quiet. It was kind of awkward. Then he went home. The next day, came to school. I mean, this was grade 9. We're all new in high school, so he's still figuring himself out. But he came, and it was a different person. And I think, again, I take credit for him changing his life. But he really switched up that day. And from that moment on, we moved forward. And again, one of our closest friends. And I think it was because he realized that you can't act a certain way and say certain things. You can't let your love just be in words and in talk, but your love has to come from deeds and from truth. And I think we have to reflect on that in our own personal lives. The people that we call our friends, the people that we call our family, the people that we care about, are we just limiting ourselves to just say things of love or just to call them friends? Or do our actions show how much we love them? That's what God does, and that's what God does for us. He says he loves us, and he showed us that he loves us, and he shows us how he loves us each and every day. So my prayer for all of us, may we reflect on our own lives, may we reflect on our own relationships and the people that we care about, and may we think about how we can start showing our love in deeds, in truth, not just making our relationships with people based off of a post or a picture or a story that we share or maybe words that we say, and that's fine, and those things are important. But what can we do and what are we doing to show physically in our actions, in our day-to-day, how we love somebody? So stay blessed, everyone, and think about how you can love the people that you care about. God bless.